Hello and welcome to This.is.life.Podcast, where we listen,
relate,
learn,
and laugh.
We want to officially welcome you to our first episode, where we want you, as the audience, to know who are we, who are these two individuals seated here and are about to shoot their first episode and their first podcast. So welcome, karibuni sana. So Alice,
Yes, please.
this is Alice Gade.
Yes.
Alice, before we begin, for our first question,
Yeah.
because this more or less like an interview for our first question. If you were to be an animal, which animal would you be and why?
If I was to be an animal, I'd be a tiger.
Why?
Tigers are aggressive in hunting their prey.
Okay.
They're strategic. And I like to be strategic in achieving my goals. I like to be aggressive.
Okay.
I'm a go-getter.
You're a go-getter. You're a go-getter.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit more about Alice. Let's speculate around primary school, high school, now that you're in campus.
Yes.
Maybe you can share with us a few highlights on how primary school was. Yeah.
Well, my primary school was okay. I really can't complain about it because, first of all, I'm the one who chose to go there. I'm the one who chose to attend Wisdom Eagles Academy.
Quite unusual.
I was so young, but a friend of mine was going to that school.
Okay.
And, sometimes your environment dictates how you react.
True.
Yes. So my environment then just swayed me on that side. Yes.
To joining.
To joining Wisdom Eagles Academy.
Okay.
And life there was good. From baby class to class 8. I met friends. I lost some.
Okay.
I learned. I grew spiritual, mental. How else do you grow? Emotionally?
Spiritual.
Yes. Yeah. And perhaps just some few highlights from my primary school.
Yeah.
The journey there made me more resilient. It made me more self-aware. Because at the time I was in class 3, some people had already started seeing something in me that I wasn't seeing then.
Okay.
Our school was sectioned into two parts. No, into two. It was into two categories.
Right.
We had the lower section, and then we had the upper section. Now the lower section included baby class to class 3, then the upper class 4 to class 8. So when I was in class 3, of course we were the eldest in the school. I was elected to be the head girl. I had not
In class 3.
in class 3, of
Okay.
course.
Unusual.
You remember?
Still unusual. Yeah.
Yeah, class 3. We had two students' council.
Okay.
The upper section and the lower section.
So it was more of a senior and junior.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was the junior head girl, per se.
Yeah.
And I had not campaigned. I did not even know what campaigning is. I wouldn't say I was interested then, but I was a people's person. I am a people's person today.
Yeah.
And so when I was elected, it came a time where all the prefects were required to address the parade. And then everyone we all stepped forward. The class prefect had something to say, the sanitary prefect, every single person who was a prefect said something. Then the head boy and the head girl were the last ones, of course, to...
The babies. The baby in the council.
Yes, to share something. And then when my turn came, I froze.
You panicked.
I can't explain what happened. I just had nothing. No, I really had planned to say something.
Okay.
But when I got there, nothing came out. I just couldn't utter a word, not even a sound.
Okay.
Actually, when I remember it right now, I just feel like laughing. Because how was I unable to say something?
How are you unable to?
You just say hi.
Yeah.
I cannot even say hi or good morning.
Okay.
I said nothing. So after that, I was demoted. I was no longer the head girl.
Ouch.
Yeah, that hurt. Because for the first time, I felt like I was given something, but I was unable to utilize it. I felt like, so I can have something and not see the value of it or not be prepared for it. So I made a vow to myself, and this was the very first promise I remember making to myself. I said, I will never lack something to say. In whatever situation, I will always have something to say.
That's nice.
Yeah, and over time, I became more proactive in class. I wasn't a good performer in lower school.
Okay.
But now when I joined the seniors, class 4 to class 8, Mark, I excelled. I don't know, I just figured my way around books. I excelled. I remember now being the sanitary prefect in class 5.
Okay.
There now would address the parade and tell them how they're supposed to dress, how they're supposed to be ironing their shirt. And then in class 6, I became the head girl, the assistant head girl, sorry.
Okay.
And in class 7 now I became the head girl, senior head girl. And I think that incident really shaped me. It showed me that you should be prepared. Preparation is something people take for granted at some point. You feel like, let it just come however it wants. I will handle it then.
Sure.
But sometimes it's good to think about how you're going to tackle something. And if you're going to write it, it's okay. Because if I had written something down when I was in class 3, I wouldn't have free. I would have just read it out. But I think I've learned over time to be prepared. And again now, something else that shaped me in primary school was being the only girl in class 8.
Oh.
Yeah, amongst.
Man.
Well, I didn't say it that way, but yeah, amongst men. There were 13 or 14 men.
So you were 15.
Yeah, we were 15.
Okay.
I was the only lady there. It was an interesting experience.
You didn't feel uncomfortable being around men as the only girl?
At first I did. Actually, I cried when my best friend then left. She transferred in term 1, early in term 1.
So initially you were two?
Initially we were 2 girls.
Okay.
But then you see then you're comforting each other. It was not a big deal because I mean, you're with your mate there. You can see something familiar in someone else. A few weeks later, I was left all by myself. I felt betrayed, honestly. I felt betrayed because why would you leave me? I know it was not her choice, but I on the onset, it was lonely. It was lonely because the men or the boys then and I were not close.
Okay.
So you'll find that I am sitting alone. They are there on the game. They say in the back there. I was at the front.
Oh,
God.
okay.
But with time, they started embracing me, including me in their games, even football. Now that we were 15 and they were 14, the only way they could include me is by splitting me. Like, lessons had 40 minutes, same to the PE lessons. So you'd find that in the first 20 minutes, I'm the goalkeeper of this team. Then in the other 20 minutes, I'm the goalkeeper of this other team. So they really did their best to include me. And we ended up being very close. Very close. We used to have morning devotions together. Of course, it's primary, it's KCP. Is
Rosemary Henderson. Yeah.
Remind me of them. But yeah, we were close. I remember there was this time, this boy poured water on my locker. I got mad because one of my favorite subjects, a book, a mathematics book, like he poured water on it. I got mad and I stood and I confronted him. I've always been a person who stands up for herself. So he tried to come at me. And all the other boys, like, they came to my rescue. They were like, if you dare touch Alice, you're going to leave this class. And I was like, these boys are not my friends. They are my brothers. They're my brothers. I mean, we could laugh and plan outings on Sundays. Let's meet here. When we are going home, we are talking of movies. We are buying this. We are buying that. It was just awesome, honestly. Yeah, I loved it. I loved the experience.
Like hard. You're a kind of family.
Yeah, it was a family. And then there was that mutual respect. Again, I tend to believe it was something about my performance also made it easier for us to relate. Because being a top performer, of course, no one is going to intimidate you. They kind of fear you.
And they'll always, you'll be the key person to ask questions.
Yes. So that also contributed to how I had an easy time in class 8. Yeah, and that's it. And I successfully completed my class 8 KCPE. And those are the highlights in primary. Of course, as we proceed, we'll be getting to know more about each other. But yeah, those were the two incidences that totally shaped me. Yeah.
So let's see. You've talked of resilience. You've talked of family being an important aspect in your appraising, and as well as preparation. So we want to see how were you able to carry on forward whatever you learned in primary to secondary. So how was the secondary?
First of all, I joined secondary in the most unusual way.
How so?
Also because the school I got an admission letter from, I did not end up going to that school because of finances here and there at home. So I ended up joining a day school first, just near home. I think for 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. And then I met a very great visionary man.
Before we meet that visionary man,
Yes, please.
how do you feel when you failed to join the high school?
Yeah.
You are called June, and joining a day school that is near home. How did you feel in between those maybe 2 or a month maybe? How did you feel?
First of all,
And how were you able to cope up with the fact that you were a hardworking student, you had excelled in your KCPE, so, and you're like, you're not called, you've been called, but it's impossible, uncalled for circumstances.
yeah.
So how did you feel? How was it? How are you able to cope?
Mark, when I received the calling letter, I was so happy. I remember we were in Nakuru at my grandmother's place. And she even linked me to a lady who was attending that school. She was in Form 4. And we had planned that she would be my, are they called godmother?
Yeah.
Yes. So I was so excited because I knew this school, they have two sets of uniform, 2 different types. There's a swimming pool. Like, my mind was just blown away by the fact that I was joining the school. And now when everyone joined high school and I was the only one left, actually amongst all my friends, everyone in the neighborhood, I was the only one who had not joined school for an entire week. It was devastating because first of all, I asked myself, what was the reason of scoring such high marks, then end up at home? But again, I could see the struggle my parents were going through, the effort they were putting in, and they kept on telling me that, Alice, you have to go to school. You have to go to school. And I was hopeful, as much as sometimes I would sit down and say, oh Lord, why am I at home? But I would see the effort and I'm like, one day, eventually, soon, I'll go to school.
But it had to be painful.
It had to be painful. I went through that path because even when now I went to join the school, the administration said that there was no space for me. Remember, I've gone 1 week late because of financial constraints. So now when I finally go, they say that there's no space for me. And they actually sent us home. So I had to go back home. So now I'm hopeless again. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. And I just sat there because my dad was so angry because he had really worked hard for me to get into school. My mom, as prayerful as she was, she kept on telling me that things will work out. I mean, everyone was just there complaining and saying, you have to go to that school, you have to do this. I even remember my story being aired on Citizen TV. It was that bad, or that good, if I may say, because it's a blessing. Everything happens for a reason. So if I had finally given up on going to the school or any other good school, if I would say. And then I woke up one morning and told my parents that, you know what? I want to go to this day school because I can't bear the fact that I'm at home. So let me just go here. And so I went the day school. I was comfortable. Again, I met friends. Most of my friends were boys. I don't know if that was influenced by class 8, but you'll find that I was closer to them because again I joined late. I joined the day school late. So I don't know what biology is. I don't know what physics is. I go there and I make good friends. I cope up very well. And along the way, just when I went home one of the days, I remember it was on a Thursday, Mom told me that tomorrow when you're going to school, please make sure you pack everything and come back home with all your books. And I'm like, why is that happening?
Surprise.
Is that happening? Told me you're going to change school. Okay. Which school am I going to? Muthurwa Girls. How comes?
How so?
How so? I mean, yes. What has changed? What miracle has happened? Only to find out that this story, this devastating story about me missing this opportunity, me staying home for that duration, caught the attention of the visionary man we were talking about. And he chose to believe in me. He chose to bet on me, if people would say that. He chose to invest in me, and he took me to school. I remember let me just mention this. I remember the first time we talked, the first time we actually had a conversation, the day before me joining Muthurwa Girls. He told me that everything I touch must shine. Right now, I think about those words and I'm like, those were words of assurance that Alice, you will shine. And that's how I ended up at Muthurwa Girls. Muthurwa Girls. Yeah.
So that was Muthurwa fans.
That was Muthurwa Girls.
I'm still kind of trying to digest whatever's just happened. That the fact that you've moved from a day school and all of a sudden now you are in a boarding school.
Yes.
Unexpected. Yeah. Surprise. Amazing. So what happens in Muthurwa? Maybe you can share maybe 1 or 2 highlights of how Muthurwa was.
And first of all, this great man's name is Ndongonyoro HSC. Mr. Ndongonyoro HSC.
What does HSC mean?
Head of State Commendation.
Ah, that's nice.
You should get one also.
I will.
So let's work hard.
Quite soon I will.
Yes, he's the founder and executive director of Affecto Foundation. I don't know why I'm even telling you this. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Affecto.
And at Muthurwa Girls, again, we mentioned family. And where you're embraced, you thrive. Where you feel comfortable, you become expressive. And I was embraced at Muthurwa Girls.
From Form 1.
From Form 1. I remember I was asked do you like to do agriculture or home science? And I said home science. Then I was taken to the home science class. And funny enough, I used to sit alone once again at the front of the class.
They are not boys.
Okay, they're not boys. I did not have a problem with that. But of course, everyone had a desk mate. Everyone had already made friends. So I'm alone. Yeah, they're all paired up. But I managed quite well. I remember I used to wake up for preps even on Sundays just to catch up. Because they were way ahead the syllabus. They were way ahead. But I managed. I became the class secretary in Form 1 and Form 2. Then I became the academic secretary in Form 3. And they had girls also now in Form 3 that time.
Okay.
And I had a good time. I was supported. Again, I am a people's person. I made good friends. I wasn't involved really in the co-curricular activities. Only once did I go for a funky because of drama. I know. But I used to go for contests. I used to listen to music. I wouldn't go dance. I have 2 left feet. I can't dance.
Lucky you. Quite unfortunate.
You should dance for us then.
No, never.
And that's it. I think how Muthurwa shaped me, it helped me identify that I am good with people. And that I just need to nurture my leadership skills more.
Given the fact that I think leadership has been something that you've been able to embrace well.
Yes.
You've been in class 3, but demoted. Then in class 5, sanitary prefect.
Yes.
Class 6, 7. Now you're in high school. Yeah. You've been a head girl 2 times.
Yes.
That's unbelievable. It's believable, but it's unbelievable, and it's a good thing. Leadership has been something you quite embrace well, and something that you uphold. So yeah, I think
I thank my teachers and my friends, schoolmates, because if they did not see that in me, then perhaps I would not have gotten there. Of course, you are given an opportunity. You don't demand to be a leader. Yeah. And being there, learning my way through independence, because then my mom is not there, my dad is not there. I have to wake up very early. I'm the one who knows what I want. I could have chosen to just sleep. I mean, I'm alone.
true.
People do that. But I chose to work hard. One thing, it's because somebody gave me an opportunity. Somebody from
A
stranger just chose to give me an opportunity. So I couldn't afford to let them down. Again, my dad, my mom had worked so hard to see me through school. Both in primary, they did all their best in high school, and it was up to me. And I just wanted a good life. And I knew my only way out is through education. Only way out.
The life of our fantasies.
Yes, it's through education. I have to thrive here. I had to make it. I still have to make it because I'm not there. And sometimes one will say that their biggest motivation is money, their past. But mine is my future.
Your future.
Because the future I have for myself in my mind, sometimes I wake up and I think, am I really doing justice to myself? Am I on the right trajectory into achieving what I want? And then I redirect myself if I'm not on the right path. Yes. So funny thing about high school, I thrived in my education. I think it was the push from home, from affecto, and from myself.
Okay.
Because since that term Form 1, I was always position 1 to about 250 something, I believe.
Sure. Just have to.
A girl's gotta do what a girl's gotta do.
An A3, when there's an A3, that's
No.
I never forget.
I really did believe I'll get an A. It was shock on me. In which I did well. I did well. And now there I was. After high school, after Motorwa Girls, after that familiar environment, after the familiar faces, I'm at home. After high school,
How does it feel?
it feels like adulting. It feels free.
Adulthood is kicking in.
Yeah. It felt idle at first because now I would sleep, not for long, so I would sleep. I'd sleep up to maybe 10. I was not used to that. And wake up, then get bored with watching movies because I love watching movies. I love the screen. And
Were you ever a keyboard warrior?
I like about.
I think you are.
I was.
Maybe in high school. If my memory serves me well, you were once a keyboard warrior. Sure.
Okay.
Let's continue.
But I do love the screen. But after a week, after completing high school, I stayed home for a week. And then now I requested Mr. Ndawuloro to allow me to volunteer at Affecto Foundation office. And he granted me that opportunity, and I'm grateful for it. So now I am from high school, and I am now busy. After experiencing being idle, I hated it. Hated it. And now I'm here in an office, something I've always dreamt of. I'm in the corporate world. I like to be that corporate babe. I think I already am. Very young. And I liked waking up early in the morning, going to work, coming back in the evening, sharing my experiences with mom, dad, my brother. And since then now, since 2021, May, to date, I have been volunteering at Affecto office. And it has been an awesome journey. I mean, I have found my passion here. I have met people. I have made good friends. I have discovered some things about myself. It's just awesome.
When you talk of passion, what passion have you realized?
I just realized that I am passionate about graphic design. I'd never thought of such a thing. I mean, I've never thought of myself to be creative. This is Alice, for goodness sake. But
Anti-curricular, babe.
Yes. But now I'm here, finding my way through a poster and actually loving it. And people are actually loving it also. So it's something interesting.
True.
Yeah. So after high school, I joined Kenyatta University. Of course, now I'll be joining third year in September. I'm pursuing economics and statistics. I've always wanted to do something mathematics and business related.
Do you mean money related?
We don't say that directly, but we don't say that directly. Yeah, and that's where I am right now at the moment.
And how you've told us that being in Affecto office has been also an eye-opening experience. And remember at the beginning of the podcast, you were saying that you are a change maker as well. So how does the change making part of it come in?
Mark, in those 2 years at Affecto, I have boarded a plane. Something that I've always wanted to do since, I don't know, I was 5, because I was obsessed with planes. At some point, I wanted to be an aeronautical engineer. At some point.
What happened?
I found I was more inclined to business and mathematics rather than physics. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was obsessed with planes, and I really wanted to board Emirates. I remember telling my friends in high school that, you know what, I'm going to get a scholarship to the US and I'm going to board Emirates. But now there I was, I'm at Kenyatta University. But at Affecto, I got an opportunity to go to Bangkok, Thailand, last year, 2022.
Yeah.
It was in June. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a conference organized by Global Youth Parliament. And I can't believe it, but I was one of the keynote speakers. Keynote speakers in the thematic area. We had 4 thematic areas. And I was a keynote speaker in the thematic area, peace leadership to tackle violent extremism. I prepared for that presentation. I had a graphic designer design the whole PowerPoint presentation. I did my research. I presented to people. I really gave my all. And while I was at the conference, I was awarded.
You shined.
I shined. I mean, people ended up calling me the Queen of Africa. Because first of all, when you're given an opportunity, give it your best. Prepare. You remember me saying that I missed an opportunity to be a head girl in class 3. Of course, I was demoted because I was not prepared. I should have written something down.
Yeah.
Now here I am. You can imagine if I wasn't prepared for this presentation. I wouldn't have been awarded the Emerging Leader Award 2022 then. So preparation. And again, when you're given an opportunity, when you're doing something, go all in. Give it your all. Don't have regrets. Don't start thinking, I wish I could go back. I would do this. I mean, if an idea comes up and it's allowed and legal, go for it. Go for it. No comment. No comment. Go for it. And again, this year I was privileged to also represent Affecto at Dubai, the Global Youth Parliament Summit again.
Okay.
And I was also a keynote speaker. Now this shows that the impression you make at first makes a lot of difference. Because the first time I applied to be a keynote speaker, but this time they requested me to be a keynote speaker. Why? Because they were impressed with my previous presentation. And I went there again and I killed it. I nailed it. And I mean, if you have done something good, then you have done something good.
Very true.
And why a change maker is because I have been given a platform to share the voice of the youth. I mean, while I'm giving that keynote speaker, of course, I'm giving my experiences. I'm giving my experiences as a Kenyan young lady, as a 20-year-old lady.
And you can believe that you are at 20 and you're already winning awards. You're already shining. So it also, I believe it's when you're talking of the voice of the youth. You're already shining among them. You're showing them that no matter whatever age that you are able to make a change. You are able to to stand on your own ground and share with the world whatever it feels. Maybe there are some people who they shy off from such opportunities because of maybe you are Kenyan and standing out in a global platform. For them, it's impossible. some have a dream, but they still feel it's impossible. So you've been able to overcome all of that. You've been able to stand out in those global platforms, being a voice of the youth. And it's just amazing.
Thank you. I mean, I was once hopeless that I will not proceed with my education. I mean, I'm not there yet, but I believe with the right people, you can achieve anything. You can do it. Whatever you set your mind to achieve. It's the daily progress, the daily improvements. I believe in schedule. I believe in order. Planning. That's why most of you say that I'm too formal.
And it's part of preparation.
It's like an armor.
You failed.
Yes.
Being prepared in class 3. But all along the way you realize that preparation is something that it's important. Preparation was important for you to make that presentation at the global awards. Yeah.
And so just keep at it. Keep at it. Go all in. And again, give thanks to people who are investing in you. And if you have the ability to invest in someone else also, please do so. I mean, no man is an island. People need people. So if I have an opportunity to help you, Mark, then I'd gladly do it. I will gladly do it. And if we live as a family, you remember my aspect of family. When you're embraced, you thrive. So if we embrace each other, we will rise together.
And bring some kind of belonging.
Yes, yes.
Once you embrace someone, you will give them one sense of belonging, that, hey, we belong here.
Yes.
Yeah. And as we maybe conclude, something about the youth, you've said that you're a voice of the youth, and all the while you're still studying Kenyatta University, you're also a business lady, the Affector Foundation, or rather volunteer.
Yes.
As you have said, in Affector Foundation.
Yes.
Some may ask, because we are here to also relate, and we are here to also learn.
Yes.
Do you still have that opportunity to go to parties, have a drink or two?
Well, we find fun in different ways. My fun is not in parties and drinks.
Okay.
My fun is in movies. I will translate watching an entire series. I will go to movies.
That's nice. I should invite you one day for a movie.
Please do.
Just here at Eden City.
Yeah.
Very soon.
Please. My fun is having this. I'm not a concert person. I don't even like loud places. It's just I don't like it. So my fun, I will go for a ride, bike riding, go for a walk. I will watch movies. Yeah. I will read books.
I guess people have different ways of enjoying.
Yeah, people have different things of enjoyment. And then recently now I realized that I love traveling.
True.
Yeah.
So do I. We were in Mombasa the other time. Fun moment. The
Story of another day.
story of my life. The story of another
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes. Yeah.
So you've been able to show us the tiger, or rather the tigress in you. Being resilient, being comfortable in your own skin, being a people's person, and being aggressive as well. Being resilient in whatever that you're doing. I think those are rather key points to take home for the day. Those are lessons learned. But it also depends with our viewers on what they have been able to capture from it all. I believe that you've been able to learn as well. You've been able to listen, and you've been able to relate. And I, most importantly, we hope that you've laughed. But before we end our episode for today,
Yes, please.
as much as we've been able to see the tiger in who Alice is, mention our 2 challenges that we've been able to face all the while.
Financial literacy, if I would say.
You've been broke.
I've been broke. I've been hella broke. I have squandered my money. The little pocket money, that you have. I have mismanaged it.
And nowadays it has become like you have money, then
You don't.
in a minute, not in a second. Where's the money?
It's the money. It has happened. It has happened. It's campus. It's campus.
It hurts.
Unainama.
You miss one or two.
You'll miss one or two. Of course. Okay, I wouldn't say I've missed. I have been broke, but with time I am learning to budget, learning to make a pesa plan, a monthly pesa plan, and it's going on well. Going on well.
If I may ask, to what extent have you ever been broke? Which is the worst situation that you found yourself when you were really, really broke?
Well, there was this time, I told you I started volunteering at Affecto in 2021. So I've just joined campus first year. Of course, you're given some allowance, and now you decide you're not going to take meals at, we call it mess. You will go out, take out. You'll have take out now that you have money.
Some KFC.
Yes, please. Then the next morning, I was supposed to go to the office because I did not have a class. I only had 10 shillings. And the bus fare is 20 shillings. So nilikuwa na 10 bob. I only had 10 shillings. And I could not ask for more cash from home because I had just asked the previous time. So the 200 mom sends, the 300, they can't send it. But it's because I mismanaged the money. And I had to call a colleague to send me at least 50 shillings to find my way to the office. Yeah, that's how bad it has gotten. But now I can't say I'm there. I mean, I know better. I know better.
Yeah.
It's time you know better. So definitely there are challenges here and there. Just keep your friends close. You will need them. Keep the right friends close. Sorry.
And because I think with them comes opportunities.
Yes,
right?
then comes opportunities. I mean, I've made very good friends in campus. Some invite me for conferences. Some invite me for impactful events and the like. Conversations. I mean, you're able to interact and hear another person's view. And you stay open, you be open-minded. It's something great.
And I think that's something quite key in conversing.
Yes.
And at times, maybe we hang out as friends and we can talk about anything. But there's some of those conversations that we have that you get to feature on, and especially in personal conversations, one-on-one conversations where you are like, what's happening, what's happening with your life, what's going on. I think those are some of the key experiences, some key convos we should be having, and especially as among the youth, we are facing a lot. That's something that's there. We are facing a lot, maybe in terms, in family-wise, financially, maybe. We're just facing a lot, especially during these times that we have, where social media is a rampage. We need people to talk to. And there was even these statistics some time back that was saying that in some few years later, we will need you, psychiatrists. Psychiatrists will be making G's on G's. Money.
Sure. Yeah. I think it's high time Kenyans, Africans embrace therapy. Yeah. It's important. We should also join.
Tell me I'm good.
Everyone.
I'm good.
No, everyone needs a therapist. I tend to believe that's a story of another day, though. Yes, but it's good to share your thoughts with someone, a professional. Then they can share their thoughts on what you have shared, because it will open up your mind. You'll find that the reason you are like this, Mark, is because something happened to you when you were 3 years. And also you were supposed to deal with it.
Getting to share it, it's half solving it.
Yeah.
So I think that's something to think about.
Yes. Therapy.
It's something for another day.
Yeah.
So for some other time.
Yes, please.
That has been our show. That has been our talk for today. We hope that you have been able to listen,
Relate
learn.
and laugh.
We hope to see you some other time later, some few episodes later. We hope to see you and hear from you soon. As for now, cheers.
Bye-bye. But the opposite attract.